He most certainly will. Well, I'm joined to get more on this now from Central London by boxing manager and promoter Frank Maloney. Frank, a very good evening to you. What are your memories of smoking Joe Frazier?
I think he's one of the best fighters I've ever seen. When I was a young lad, I just started work and I got my first wage pack and I queued up to see the first Ali Frazier fight at the Odeon in Leicester Square, and I remember it was the thing that made me fall in love with him. And I wanted to be heavyweight champion of the world after watching that, but being so small, I went another route. But he's just one of them guys that you liked. If you met him, I had the privilege of meeting him about 3 times while looking after Lennox Lewis. And, you know, he always had time for everybody, no matter who you was, what rank of life you was, or what sort of job you had. He had time, he stopped for you, he talked to you. He was a real people's champion.
We've heard a lot of people today talking about his qualities in the ring and his durability and the difficulty in terms of beating him. Would you agree with all that? Oh,
it was like fighting a machine. I mean, you know, if he was around today, he would be an absolute, well, he is a legend, but he would just dominate heavyweight boxing. I mean, the man was unbelievable. He only lost to 2 fighters, to Foreman and Ali, and he was a fighter in the greatest era of boxing heavyweights division.
Frank, you talk about that era. People refer to it, don't they, as a golden era, and it is a time in boxing that we're probably never going to see again.
It's something that all us managers and promoters cry out that we can have again, but, you know, I don't think we'll ever see another George Foreman, another Joe Frazier, another Muhammad Ali. You've had carbon copies of them, but these were guys. I mean, you heard him when he won the medal. He had a broken hand in the Olympic Games. There was also rumours that he fought with a bad... some say he was partially blind, some say he was blind in one eye, but he still managed to fight and become world champion.
And of course, Frank, we're talking about a time when there weren't as many television stations and radio stations and newspapers as there are now, so most of the people on the planet, it's no exaggeration to say, knew who he was and wanted to follow his fight.
Yeah, he made the front page of every newspaper. I mean, I went to see him when he came over here and beat Joe Bugner at Earls Court. It was unbelievable, the sort of attention he drew. You know, even when he was sort of retired, I remember a story about him. He was being interviewed by a little website. It didn't matter where you was, he would give you a story. And they asked him about his relationship with Muhammad Ali, and they said to him, if you walked into an elevator and it was just you and Muhammad Ali and the door closed, what would you do to him? He said, if I had a loaf of bread, I would break that loaf of bread and share it with him. That's the kind of man he was. He was a warrior in the ring, outside the ring. He was a kind, forgiving man. You know, because he forgave Ali for all them statements he made about him.
Well, that's a lovely thought on which to end this interview, Frank. We're grateful to your time. Thank you very much indeed. Frank Maloney there, paying his tribute to Joe Frazier, who has died at the age of 67.